You got your share screen.
Yep.
LimeVibe ความแลกไป Lime ความแลกไป Vibe LimeVibe ความแลกไป Lime ความแลกไป Vibe LimeVibe โอ้ LimeVibe
Good night, everybody, and welcome once again to another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, the splendid one, Yori Araman Kemp, along with my beautiful co-host, Ms. Kimberly Ramcalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. So thank you for joining us again once more for another LimeVibe Live podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to our videos on Facebook and YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. And also, we have added a new dynamic to our platform. We've also put in a donate button, a donate link, and our YouTube link and our Facebook link. So if you have a chance, if you're listening to us, and if you want to donate to the show, just go to our what do you call it thing, Kim? The thing at the bottom, the description of the video on Facebook or YouTube, and just click the link and click donate, and you could donate any amount that you wish to. Okay, so that's a new dynamic we have here at LimeVibe Podcast. So Kim, how's things going with you tonight?
Good night, Yori. How are you there? I'm doing well as best as I can. It's also the eve of Indian Arrival Day, May 30th. Yes. We observe it. Yeah, marks how many years since the arrival of the Fatal Razak in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's a buzz of activity. Usually we've started doing the Indian Heritage Month, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the Caribbean, because Indian Arrival Day spans across the region.
Yeah.
Right. Let me see how many observe. What's the years?
Well, for sure, Trinidad and Guyana, right, and Suriname, right?
No. Actually, this spans from Suriname, Guyana, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, St. Kitts, Martinique. Okay. Jamaica. And so Trinidad and Tobago was officially the first country to declare it a holiday back in 1995. It was, I think, 150 years back then that marked that milestone in 1995. It was a grand affair back then. It stirred quite a good bit. It was also when our Prime Minister back then, Basdev Pandey, he would have searched his genealogical roots back to India through a local historian called Shamsuddin. He's featured actually in BBC This Week on their World Service, how he went about searching their ancestral roots. He did it for Kamla Prasad Bisesa and for Basdev Pandey.
Okay.
So while Trinidad and Tobago was the inaugural country to reserve this day, it spurred many other countries in the Caribbean looking to establish a day to take recognition of the Indian heritage and its contribution to their countries. When we look at St. Lucia, it was declared back on May 6, 2013. And in Jamaica, they proclaimed May 10th Indian Heritage Day in recognition of the Indians' contribution to social and economic development of the country. There are quite a good bit of Indians in Jamaica, and I've spoken a bit about this in the beginning when we started LimeVibe. They having the High Commission of India there. In Suriname, they celebrate June 5th because back in 1873, a ship called Lala Rook would have arrived. Their day is not called Indian Arrival, it's called Prawas Din. So that would have arrived in Paramaribo back in 1873, bringing some 399 indentured laborers to the country.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool bit of history, Kim. You up on your game on your Indian history, man.
I mean, I say this because there's this notion that Indians just are within just three main countries of the Caribbean, but they extend all the way from Jamaica to Belize, St. Croix, Grenada, the these countries have an Indian heritage,
Mhm.
and it's often something not heard of or not known by
Yeah.
the rest of the Caribbean.
Yes, yes, yes.
This month throughout the Caribbean has actually been noted as Indian Heritage Month. Here in Trinidad, where we have the National Council for Indian Culture (NCIC), which usually puts out the Diwali Nagar. They've held quite a number of distinguished lecture series, exhibits on art and artifacts. This weekend, we would have seen quite a good bit of exhibits across the country
Mm.
featuring artifacts and things that the Indian community would have brought to these shores here in Trinidad and Tobago. There's
Mhm.
quite a good bit of culture. Apart from food, they would have brought their ways. They would have brought plants and trees that
Yes.
make up part of our native way of eating or food that we eat. You know, doubles being a very popular dish in the region. It's synonymous with the Indians in Trinidad and Tobago.
Is doubles very popular back in India? Do you know or no?
No, there's something else in India. It's not. It was something that was created here in Trinidad.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's something native to us, right? But a lot of people compare it to another street food.
Mm.
But in India, I can't recall the name of it, but it's quite different, right?
Okay.
Quite different from what you see in India. I think it's a more crispy something.
Mm.
And it's another name of it that it goes by. But Trinidad, we made it. Remember what would have been distributed among the Indians, by the Europeans. They would have got our curries vary. Someone was why Guyana calls their thing curry, chicken curry, and we call curry chicken here in Trinidad. We say curry chicken, just like you would say fried chicken, baked.
Oh, yeah.
What was prepared?
So it's the curry wars, Kim? I don't want to sound the curry wars.
You baked it, you cooked it, you curried it, you chunkied it.
That's a nice thing. The Caribbean curry conflict.
Yeah, it's something usually held between Trinidad and Guyana.
Yes.
Try to correct me and say, oh well, you have to know the origin of curry chicken. In India, it's called chicken curry.
Yeah.
But it's really what is done to the chicken here in Trinidad. But I always say that our curries vary. If you watch it, how Jamaica uses their curries compared to the curries used in St. Vincent Grenadines, to the curries used, the type of curries used, all flavors vary.
Yeah. Because Jamaicans are trying to own curry.
Yes, and the way we prepare our own foods, our own curries, are vary based on what was given to us by those who brought us here. The English would have brought their curries and whatever they rationed, even what the Indians, settlers that came to Trinidad, the indentured laborers, they had something called a jahaji bundle. That's their little bag tied on a stick, represented like this little cloth, like a little bandana, a handkerchief sort of.
Yeah.
And it just their little things, and brought that with them, and they shared, and they made do with what they had. They brought their types of mangoes, the types of okra, fruits and vegetables. We would have brought a variety, and they brought the seeds, and they brought their types of curry, and that is what they would have persevered with. So I'm talking a good bit about it, but
that's tomorrow in Trinidad, right?
More in Trinidad, and it's some parts of the Caribbean. They will celebrate it until June 10th. I think Suriname the 5th and St. Vincent is the 10th. So, or vice versa. But a lot of people have been talking. I know when it comes to reparations for the Africans enslaved, a lot of talk has been happening among the diaspora external to Trinidad and Tobago as to why we should not even be considering Indian Arrival Day. Why are we celebrating this? They took us from our homeland and brought us here to work, our ancestors, as they say, right? But I think that they took us for the better. And I'm sure a lot of people would agree. Had our families remained in India, I don't know what sorts of conditions I would have been forced to endure.
Oh, wow, wow.
We are here. And by and large, the Indian population here in the Caribbean has persevered.
Mhm,
They have established themselves. They worked hard. They toiled in the land.
mhm.
The difference between the enslaved and the indentured laborers is that they were offered compensation packages because the enslaved slavery was banned.
Yes,
There was
yes.
abolition of slavery.
Can do
So
that.
you
Yeah. Right.
laborers here and not offer them some sort of compensation.
Mhm,
Many were offered at the end of their tenure to return to India.
mhm.
Many of them said no, they would stay in return for the settlement package, which was lands given to them.
Now, did the Indians endure any of the brutality that the African slaves endured?
There was a level of it in the sense that they were denied education, they were denied a good bit of their food. The conditions in which they had to live was deplorable. The barracks in which they stayed was quite dirty. They endured torment of rape, religious persecution as well. I know it was not as bad as the enslaved, but
Mhm.
it was harsh. They did have to endure a good bit of harshities
Yes, yes, yes.
before they could, practice their religions. They were persecuted for carrying on these traditions of wanting to, they saw them as idolizing, having idols and worship. Some of
Yes,
them were not just Hindus, also Muslims. They came as
yeah,
Muslims.
indeed.
There's that mixture of a religion that came, that influence. As I spoke some time ago, the Presbyterians, the Canadian missionaries would have come seeing this,
Mhm.
and they would have sought out to try to provide some sort of education to the Indians,
And
while trying to encourage their own culture through worship songs using their own native language called bhajans.
and stick a pin right there, Kim, before you go back to the Indians. That's one of the things that people don't understand about the enslaved Africans when they came over here as well. They thought we were all like voodoo doll worshiping, obeah worshiping, like in the bush, but they don't realize some of those people they brought from Africa were either Muslims or Christians, and they were
Yeah,
they were the original Christians that made it to Africa and sub-Saharan Africa when Islam really took over, when Islam was sweeping through the Middle East and Africa. So they were already either Christianized or Islamized. So that was a big lie as well. Like we were all like these Obeah and voodoo worshiping Negroes that didn't know God, didn't know the monotheistic God and the God of Abraham, which is a total lie. A total lie.
that's
Anyway, back to your story.
when we were discussing the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, that was last month or so, I
Mm.
forgot to mention that there was a significant population of the Islamic faith community belonging to the African population.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
often called mandingos. It's a
Yes.
kind of derogatory name in a sense, but I'm letting you know because it's known. They call them this because they were African Muslims of African descent.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was one of the terms used to describe them.
Yes.
Because the Indians came and they would have had their Islam brothers, but you see them today, they worship together. It does not matter. It's all about the faith and promoting of the faith and gathering together to worship.
Yes, indeed. And they've really made the word mandingo to be a nasty word, haven't they? They've sexualized and they turn out to be something that it's really not. Well, that's what the white man does. The white man smears you and he slanders you when he's ready.
But
The pale
we
face.
we have a diverse population here in Trinidad and the Caribbean, and it needs to be recognized. It's about time that we recognize how we've contributed to each other's sphere and spaces.
Yes.
Within CARICOM even, they
Your prime minister,
from Guyana, Sir Sridhar Ramphal, and
oh, he's a big time man. He's
yes,
he's one of the premier diplomats of the Caribbean. Sridhar Ramphal. Yep. I just found out about him a year ago. I didn't realize how much of a big man he was, but he really was. He had a
he was
sense of him, man.
South Africa,
Yeah.
with the influencing her in trying to speak out against apartheid.
Yes.
A son of the soil.
Yes.
Right, and we see quite a good list of contributions by the Indian community, and it's not to be disregarded or made out to be any bit smaller or insignificant. significant in any way.
I
Sometimes it's
see your Prime Minister Rowley, giving the Indian community his kudos as well. He said that East Indians have, contributed a lot to Trinidad, from science to engineering to law, to education to medicine. You guys done a lot, and he's recognizing it, man, ahead of Indian Day.
Indian Arrival Day.
Indian Arrival Day, yeah.
So I guess, I mean, yeah, he has to do that, being bipartisan in that sense. You have to make way for every creed and race finds an equal place here in Trinidad and Tobago. That's one of our statements, part of our national anthem. It's a sentence. So, and our watchwords is tolerance, production, and discipline. So tolerance being one, production, discipline.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They should play Knockating all day tomorrow.
What's that?
Knockating. And that's the song, Knockating.
What's that? I don't know what's that.
Yeah, it's a soca song. It's a soca song. Knockating. Let me find who sung it, man. Knockating. Knock.
There's a song they sing usually, Jahaji Bai, and then you hear David Ruther's song, where the Ganges meets the Nile.
Yeah, it's done by Raymond Ramnarine and Didanan.
Dilinadan.
Didanan. Oh, so you heard about it, right?
I don't.
Let me play a little bit for everybody in the background so they can hear what's going on. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Computer audio. Let's go right here. They said an Indian businessman heard this. Turn that based on the same song right here.
Never throw a jack on a true champion. Whistle the commotion. So we hang the jack. I don't know you can beat table like that, Yo. Is the new table master. So then knock a thing. Somebody said table master.
Start off though. Long intro. Yeah.
All you come. It's a lockdown session. Knock it. Bring your bottle and bring your bottle. Bring the spoon. Bring your bottle. Bring the spoon. Bring your bottle. Bring the spoon. Knock a table and bust a tune. We in a Ghana session.
No, I don't really know about that.
I like it too, actually.
Everybody tries to talk about there's this guy that sang Jahaji Bai.
Yeah. They said an Indian businessman heard this song and he made his decision to visit Trinidad that same year when the song came out. Yeah. So he loved it so much. It's infectious. Knockating. Sorry if I had a little deviation there, Kim. I'm getting a little nifty on this YouTube sharing thing and this Zoom sharing thing. So I'm just trying out my hand, right? So yeah, that should be the national anthem tomorrow, man. Knockating.
No, it's actually Brother Marvin sang a song called Jahaji Bai. That's been usually the song that's played on the day.
Okay.
Brotherhood on the boat is what it talks about.
Okay.
Jahaji Bai. So we usually sing that song, and that's one of the songs that plays quite a good bit on Indian Arrival here in Trinidad. If we have to talk about it,
well, Knockating should knock all of them out. That's what I think. Knockating should knock all of them.
It's probably more of a River Lime thing. It's chutney soca. That's one of the contributions of the Indian diaspora here in Trinidad. They would have brought their own version of the language called Bujpuri, and during a celebration called Holi in India, we call it Pagwa. It's the start of spring. It's usually we have a chowtal. It's indigenous groups that sing songs. Bhojpuri words, which is their interpretation of the Hindi that would have melted with the various dialects that would have come and merged here in Trinidad.
Yes.
So that's one aspect of the culture.
Okay, that's cool. So you're looking forward to tomorrow. What are you going to do tomorrow, though? How are you going to celebrate?
My parents usually cook up a storm of duck. We have curried duck and roti and curried chana, which is chickpeas, garbanzo beans, you all call it. So that's usually the meal. We have a pumpkin. We usually saute the pumpkin with various spices and mango anchar, which is usually green mango, essentially masala in various anchar masala or indigenous spices.
Okay. Is mangola or mango? Because mango is the hairy one. You mean mangola, right?
Mangoes, your green mangoes.
Green mangoes with the hair on them?
Mangoes, yeah, you leave on the skin, everything, you chop it through the seed, you cut it right down into
Wow.
like you when you cut it down in half, you would cut it up in slices
Okay.
and then boil it for a bit,
Mhm.
and then you would saute it in anchar masala with your onions, garlic, pepper, curry, and it comes down as like a preserved sort of dish.
Oh, it sounds kind of tasty.
Sour. It's a kind of sour thingy, sour sweet. We add sugar and salt and stuff to sweeten it,
That
and
sounds like something I would like, man.
you might like it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like something I might like, man. Get some of my my Trinidad Indian spices, man.
What's that?
Get some of my Trinidad Indian spices, man. You've been promising to send me Indian spices for quite some time, Kim.
I know during COVID, I couldn't do it when you had asked, and I said I have to get around to sending that to FedEx, but I'm waiting for when FedEx,
Okay.
I find everything is so exorbitant, and they fuss about a lot of things.
Yeah. I know, right? Because even when it gets, I have to pay for it again, even though you pay for it over there.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I have to pay for it again. Yep. Even if it's a gift, I have to pay customs again for it.
Jeez.
Yeah. They get you coming and going. The government gets you coming and going, Kim.
I mean, Trinidad is the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
I was lucky that, so I was hoping that I would have come across a specific time period that they would have offered me a special. Sometime on Wednesdays, they have a special. Okay, well, you're not going to pay anything extra, and the person that's receiving is not going to pay. But it's also dependent on the kind of products you're sending.
Yes. One time they made me pay for calendars. They made me pay duty on calendars, believe that or not. I had to pay duty on the calendar. Someone from Taiwan sent me a calendar, and I had to pay duty on a damn calendar, Kim. A calendar. And it's something I didn't want. He just sent it as a gift. I didn't even ask for it. I had to pay duty on the calendar. I was like, wow.
My cousins would have sent things for us too. And the amount we would have paid, it was much more, it was worth more than the actual item that was shipped.
Yes.
It does quite a good bit of damage to our pockets here in the Caribbean.
And that's what pains you, right? Paying the duty costs more than the actual the thing itself, right? Like, how are you valuing this thing?
Exactly. I saw Julie Mango from Jamaica talking about that. She ordered a TV coming in and they're charging so much to clear.
Oh Lord Jesus Christ.
But apart from Indian Arrival Day being today, I know in Bahamas you all would have observed Whit Monday. Tell me a bit about
Whit Monday today. Yeah, Whit Monday today. Yeah, we had a celebration downtown today, but it's more in line with that independence celebration. So it all culminated with Whit Monday today. So yeah, people are enjoying Whit Monday. People normally just go to the beach on the holidays over here. There's nothing special. I mean, it's supposed to be a Christian holiday, which it really is. But people really don't like observe all the Christian traditions the way they should, right? So I think everyone went to church on Sunday yesterday. But
independence, right? So how come that ties into independence right now?
Because this year is the 50th year anniversary of the Bahamas independence. And so this entire year they're doing a lot of stuff. So it's 50 years since we became independent. So this is a very special year. So every holiday and every special observance, every chance they have, they're going to celebrate the 50th year anniversary of Bahamian independence. And so that's what they're doing. So, yeah, wait till it gets down to July 10th. You're gonna see like a huge display. They have an entire secretariat made up just to celebrate this 50th year anniversary. So it's pretty big.
It's how many years?
50 years.
50, right?
50, yes, 50 years.
When Trinidad had our 50th anniversary, the Jubilee, we had a big celebration. The whole of downtown was decorated in red, white, and black. We had a parade. So happened, I think what culminated with our independence was that Kishon Walcott, he would have won the gold medal at the 2012 Olympics for javelin.
Javelin, okay, good man.
So and I think our football team, or I can't remember, we had a good bit of a reason to celebrate that year. So there was a parade from Port of Spain to Piarco, all the way up to where he lived in Toco. And his photos, our camera crews were out and we were busy covering it.
Oh, that's good. He's the first gold medalist for Trinidad?
No, Hazley Crawford would have been the first winner, he would have. He was an
Right?
athlete,
Track and field, right?
yeah, in track and field.
Yeah. Okay.
He would have even won. What year was that? That was the year we actually got. No, that was 1976.
Mm.
So he would have won in that summer Olympics.
Wasn't it the
And
100 meters? Kingsley Crawford, you say?
Paisley Crawford. He's 72 years old. He was born in 1950.
Oh,
And
he's
he was
still in the good faculties?
yeah, I think he does. I know last time I checked with him, he was involved in training still. He had his role in the National Athletics Council and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He
Okay.
still has his
Yeah, the
in-
100 meters. Yeah, 100 meters. Yeah. 1976 Montreal Games, 100 meters.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyone ever decided to talk to him, getting his life story on book or something like that? Or getting a profile of him?
I think some companies have done things with him in Trinidad. There's quite a good bit archives on him.
Mm-hmm.
There are. I so him being, I think he's in the Caribbean Hall of Fame. I'm not sure, and they would have done some works on him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got to celebrate him, man, because these people, we don't know what all they've been through back, and especially those guys from the 60s and the 70s who had to
He's
crash all that
welcome.
racism.
I know that the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago has given him a good job. They provided housing. We take care of our athletes most of the time. Sometimes when they get down in age, because last week we actually lost one of our longtime boxers, Claude Noel. You would have seen me
Oh
post.
yeah, I heard about him. Yeah, what happened to him?
He had he was a Tobagonian professional boxer, and he would have come down with illness in the last 10 years. He was ailing, and he was just only 74. It was said that money that was being given to him, even from the ministry, there was some kind of thing about 2 months ago about him being dragged on the floor and asking for help, and it was being connected with his family. So sometimes family and all has to do with they're getting the monies from the grants and the government, whatever the government has offered to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not reaching their care. And that's it. You have to have responsible caregivers and caretakers when you get on age and with health issues.
Yeah. We lost one of our Bahamian boxing icons as well, Ray Minus Jr. He was the Commonwealth Bantamweight champion. Yeah, he was a coach of mine too when I was training. He was my coach as well. He's a good friend of mine. He had what do you call Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS.
Yeah.
And he wasted away over the last 5 years. He has wasted away. And they just had a celebration for him last month as well. He was buried 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Ray Minus Jr. God bless his soul and God rest his may God be with his family and God rest his soul. That's all I could say. He's a good friend of mine. He will be missed. He left behind a legacy of good trained fighters who have taken on the mantle actually of carrying on his training tradition, and they're now boxing coaches, most of them, and most of them came around to be good professionals as well. So yeah, rest in peace, Ray Minus Jr.
Yeah, it's always good that we need to celebrate these guys who have pioneered for us.
Yes. Who put their lives on the line for us, man. Like I say, back in the 60s and 70s when it was really racist, especially competing at that world level, they weren't really getting the shots and they weren't really getting the chances. Then coming from a small island nation like Trinidad or the Bahamas, they really make it that far. It's really significant achievement, man. It doesn't happen like that. That's just a testament to what we can do here in the Caribbean. I mean, to really promote that,
We do.
Yeah. So Usain Bolt just didn't jump up yesterday. He had a line of Caribbean athletes that came before him that paved the way for him to be where he is. Even though he's Jamaican, he has a line of Caribbean athletes from Paisley Crawford, from Merle Naughty. Remember Merle Naughty?
I mean, Jamaica has always been that has always Jamaica has always been one that has supported its athletes.
Yes, indeed. And especially with track and field, man. And then even with the boxers as well, from the great Mike McCallum, and Simon Brown, they were world champions. But Trevor Burbick, he died tragically just about 10 years ago, right? And he went back to Jamaica trying to own property. And they killed him and said, you don't own a property, you have trouble.
They've been participating, I think, since the 1930s. So they were, far reaching when it came to at least the representation on, at least, foreign games and things like that.
Yeah.
The British games, they would have participated back in 1934, I believe. And
the British Empire Games. Is that the forerunner of the Commonwealth Games?
The British Empire Games is now known as the Commonwealth Games, and they would have won silver in swimming, and I think someone would have won a bronze in discus throw. So that was 1934. So they had a representation long before. I don't know any other country that was formidable when it came to athletics at the global front.
Yeah. And they have a good training regime now for their track and field athletes as well. People don't realize they have like a system in Jamaica where they get those kids, like it's almost like it's Cuba, but Cuba take these young people and they take them when they're young, especially the fighters, and they know exactly what they're going to be, and they train them from when they're like 5 or 6 years old, and they put them through these battery of schools and these batteries of training regimens and training regimes, and they just take them straight through up to the next level, and that's how they really, that's how they get the Usain Bolts and the Johan Blakes.
Jamaica they have a system that's quite enviable, and one that is
worldwide. Nobody else doesn't like them. Nobody else doesn't like the Jamaicans. And they could do it all. They could do it all in Jamaica. Like how the United States athletes, they have to go to college to get the extra training. They could do it all in Jamaica. There's no reason why a Jamaican athlete has to leave Jamaica, but if he wants to do track and field, there's no reason why they have to leave Jamaica and go to, let's say, for example, Alabama University to run track and field. They could do it all there in Jamaica if they want to and be world-class athletes. That's how good it's been.
Jamaica, they've been a training field not just for their own children, but for the Caribbean. I know a lot of trainees go there. They're able to access the University of the West Indies at the Mona campus, get education, as well as compete. And what they get exposure to there in Jamaica is, they're able to compete and boost their standards. So they've got, that competition that they're training against in order to compete at the global standard, not just at Carifta Games, not just at the Commonwealth Games, but at Olympics.
Yes, World Championships,
Trinidadians, they usually, Atto Bolden and them, they would have based for some time in Jamaica, as long as as well as our other athletes or females or girls, they go there to train.
Where's Atto Bolden now anyway, though? What's he doing?
He's still training a lot of upcoming athletes. I think he's between, I know he's in Atlanta as well as Jamaica and Florida.
He's in Atlanta?
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of our athletes, if they've gotten scholarships like writing the SATs and things like that, they're exposed to the athletic programs in universities in Florida and Atlanta, and they would go there and train with the American counterparts to reach up to a certain standard. And he works with teams there as well.
Okay, that's cool. Because he was the biggest thing in Caribbean track and field for a while until Usain Bolt came on the scene. Everyone kept on talking about Atto Bolden.
Atto Bolden. I guess,
Was he?
Yeah, Atto Bolden was there in the 90s.
Yeah. He went to 4 games, I think. He went to 4 Olympics. He went to 1996. Oh, yeah, no, just Sydney and Atlanta. 1996 and 2000. Just went to two Olympics. Yeah, right. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
He ran 100 and 200 meters. Never won one, though. Always came in second or third.
Bronze, yeah.
Yeah. But he was the biggest thing in track and field in the Caribbean for a while until Usain Bolt, man.
I guess so. To me, there were other Jamaicans that were quite, notable of recognition back in the early 2000s. So they would have made, they always maintained some sort of representation at, that level.
Yeah. They're pretty good, man.
Because Carl Lewis and Michael Johnson, their money.
Did you see that record-breaking run that Michael Johnson had in the Olympics? I think it was the Sydney Olympics. Man, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I never was interested in track and field like that until I saw Michael Johnson run around that field. And his stride was so exceptional. His stride was so beautiful. I knew nothing about running, Kim. And I said, wow, look at him go. And he had his back straight and his legs were tearing off, man. That 400-meter run he had, that was brilliant. Yeah. Michael Johnson, yeah. I watch it every now and then. I watch it every now and then just to get inspired by it, because he was beautiful. That was a beautiful race he ran.
Other notable names coming out from Jamaica. I know there was a Safa Powell. He was one to
Yes.
keep an eye on. So
Yeah,
there was-
Safa Powell, yep. Always upset he couldn't beat Bolt, right?
But didn't they run in at least in the relay level, together?
Yeah, they ran together. Yeah, it was him, Johan Blake, Safa Powell, Usain Bolt. Safa was another dude. Can't remember his name. He really was like the fourth, like the fifth column. He was no one really was interested in him, right? But he was there. He helped the relay team.
One thing I have to say though, that no matter what country is representing the Caribbean at the Olympic front, we as an entire region, we back our neighbors.
Of course we do. We have to.
Exactly. We take a special pride and love. They're one of us,
Yes, we have to.
Just like how I see a lot of people love Winston Duke, who performs in Black Panther and those movies like that. Like that's all people, just like we love Sidney Poitier, that's
Yes, indeed.
when you hear those accents out there, we take pride and joy knowing that they're part of our Caribbean. They came from our culture and background.
Indeed, yes. And we should be prideful, because they didn't expect these islands to do anything, Kim. We didn't have any gold. We didn't have any industry here. So what else could we do,
And we have so many, being celebrated today, in the region. I believe right now we have even a Trinidadian that performed in the Little Mermaid remake.
Oh yeah. Wasn't she the star of the show? Wasn't she the star?
One of the singers. No, she's actually one of the singers. I think her name is Martina Laird. She's one of the singers, but she's on the evil side with Ursula.
Okay. Let me see if I can find it right now. Little Mermaid. No, I don't see it. Trinidad. Martina Laird. That's her name. Yeah, Martina Laird. Yep.
Today she's being celebrated because we would have actually seen her at the launch when they had the whole movie launch in America about probably a week or two ago. Right, she's cast as Lashana, Queen Selena's chief servant.
I don't know if I want to see Little Mermaid. It may not be for me. Would you like to see it?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm a big fan of Hailey because I've always enjoyed her and her sister Chloe's music. I mean, I saw them as being powerful with their vocals from youngsters. I've been following their career since they were early teenagers, and I enjoyed Hailey and Chloe's music and their contribution to music. They have really good voices. I even put them as even being better than Beyonce. And
anyone's better than Beyonce, man. Come on. Beyonce's overrated,
I think because of my love for Hailey, I will probably watch it.
Now, I guess maybe for women it's a bit different, but I can't see myself watching The Little Mermaid, I can't bring myself to, why would I go and watch The Little Mermaid? What's the next one?
It's not something for you, I would guess,
No, I can't see myself going to see that, man. I'm sorry.
Little Mermaid is something that we would have grown up with, right? As a young girl, I would have grown up on my Saturday mornings. Little Mermaid was part of my cartoon routine. I would get up and watch Little Mermaid along with Winnie the Pooh and Aladdin and all those cartoons.
Yeah.
And during our birthday parties, that was the movies that your parents would put on VHS to watch.
Yes, indeed. Just to keep it quiet, right? Just to keep
that was part of it. That was part of the entertainment segment outside of the piñata and pin the tail on a donkey and those other games.
Yes, indeed. So you got a fun childhood, Kim.
I had one or two nice moments like that. Yeah, parents tried to ensure that we had some pleasant memories despite our circumstances.
Yeah, that's what parents supposed to do, man. Make the best out of a bad situation or a difficult situation. Yeah, that's good, man.
So I've always liked Hailey and Chloe Bailey. I think their voices are something to be reckoned with. And Hailey is so cute, and she's carried herself as such. I've enjoyed watching how she dressed for the premieres and all of that. She's so
How do you
cute.
take all the backlash that she received of being the first Black Little Mermaid? How do you like that backlash?
I thought it was uncalled for,
Yeah.
even though I understand that, they want the inclusivity and diversity needed.
Mhm.
And people are saying, oh, it did not need to be remade because really a Norwegian story is a white person story.
Mm.
Honestly, it opened up the avenue where I think there are a lot of African fables and stories and princesses.
Yes,
that
indeed.
Stories need to be told.
Exactly.
Every continent has its own indigenous stories that if Disney really wants to, it can really tell the true life stories
Yes,
you know,
yes, indeed.
of our
Indeed.
peoples from around the world and give them an avenue to showcase and shine light, and just
Exactly.
being so lazy to remake something and just recast.
Yeah, because a good story is a good story, Kim. Those are Nancy stories. They could shine anywhere in the world. The Nancy stories.
In Trinidad, we've got a movement where they're making comics, and a lot of people have artists have drawn them and made them into anime characters. Because we've got at our University of Trinidad and Tobago, we have an animation school,
Mhm.
and they've taken to our local indigenous characters and have turned them into cartoons and characters. I think at some of the film festivals around the world, they've even premiered.
Mhm. Okay, that's fair enough. That's good stuff, Kim. You
Yeah.
chopped information tonight, Kim. What's happening? You did some extra research tonight.
That's right.
You came extra prepared now with all the cultural stuff, man. I love this. I love this, Kim.
Well, it's something that I've always taken pride of. I've always done history stories.
Mm.
As part of my communications thing, we have to be part and parcel of all our cultures that make up our people. So you have to know a good bit of everything that's happening and be
Yes.
able to represent and show appreciation for each other. We are one people and we need to have an understanding of, what's going on.
Yes. We must. Because all these stories are a part of us. We're all one people.
I mean, you're not going to take Pocahontas and remake it, right? So
Yeah. You shouldn't.
we have so many stories happening in Africa. Swahili has so many beautiful tales.
Speaking of Africa, did you see Jada Pinkett Smith? She remade the Cleopatra and she turned it into a black woman, and that pissed people right off.
The Egyptians have been pissed off with that.
Yeah.
So not all.
Cleopatra was black. She was an Afro.
Yeah, she just said she was more of Grecian
Yes.
hair and skin. That's
Yes.
why Elizabeth Taylor was able to portray her back in the day, what was it, 1940s, 50s or 60s in a movie.
Yeah, I think 19 Cleopatra. Let's take a look.
Elizabeth Taylor, she was able to portray her on the silver screen. So I think, why are you trying to retell it?
1963. Yep, 1963.
So they're getting that backlash there by the Egyptians.
Yeah, and they hated. They said Cleopatra was not black. She was Greek. She was Egyptian. She was Greek from the Ptolemy dynasty. One of Alexander the Great's generals had lineage in Egypt. Because Alexander, he swept through the entire Middle East and from Egypt going straight across to Persia, and he left his generals in place in all of these little quadrants, right? And he left Ptolemy, his general Ptolemy, in charge of Egypt, sorry. And from his lineage came Cleopatra, because her father was Ptolemy the third, and his father was Ptolemy the fifth, and just kept on going straight down Ptolemy until they got to her. And actually, she married her brother Ptolemy.
Oh.
They were nasty, weren't they? Huh? Incestuous bastards. So the Egyptians could claim that. The Egyptians could claim that incest if they want to. Yeah. So I don't think that I understand what Jada Pinkett Smith was trying to do, but I think she was just overdoing it. Cleopatra was you can't make a statement on that, because nowhere in the world anyone believed that Cleopatra was a black woman. All right.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that at least from the Ptolemy dynasty, they were Greeks, they were Macedonian, they were European looking ish, even though Greeks really aren't, blonde hair, blue eyed, Europeans, they weren't, black Nubians,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know. I know it's not been welcomed in Egypt by most people.
Yeah.
It has a kind of a racism in a sense.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
But the blacks in Egypt are even speaking out against it too, you know.
Yeah, because they know the history, you know. They're not like us on this side of the world where we just accept anything, right? They know the history.
Yeah.
You know, the African continent was named Kemet before it was named Africa by the Romans,
Right.
you know. And they know Ethiopia meant burnt face. And so yeah. So yeah, they know the history. It's a shame what they did us though. So that's why I encourage you guys to celebrate the Indian Arrival Day as much as you could, as much as you can too. Reach back out to India, you know. Touch base with the people back in India.
As I was supposed to mention to you,
Hmm.
there's this upcoming thing in the diaspora saying that we should not be even celebrating it. You know,
Why not?
took us away. But my father and my grandfather, I grew up in the sense that they've always looked at it as being, they were pioneers. They came, the Europeans would have come to them in their hometowns and says, here's what, you're invited to work. They sold it as being a Trinidad, which is the sugar land, sweet land, you know. It was a land full of sugar cane. They didn't know what it was. And you're going to get compensated this way. When my dad always expresses it in the sense that they came here by faith, in a sense that they were pioneers willing to leave their land so many thousands of miles and cross the Kalipani, the dangerous black waters. Take that journey through the treacherous waters, passing through the curve from India, the Indian Ocean, the Pacific, around Africa, Madagascar, where many of them got sick and died.
Yes.
And suffered illnesses and would have come across here into the Atlantic, braving the Atlantic waters, reaching here in Trinidad. And they came here, they settled, they endured, they were able to build their lives here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I am here because of my ancestors.
Yes.
I am grateful.
Because they were strong and they were able to endure, and now you're here, right?
Yes, they were resilient. They carried on their songs, their traditions. When I was growing up, my grandfather and his sisters, they would still speak their Hindi language. It would be kept sort of secret. I don't know why they didn't carry. They wanted to probably gossip a bit. Some have chosen to carry on, pass on that tradition.
Yeah.
I'm able to cook some of the things that I would have witnessed my grandfather cooking, some things I may make tomorrow. And it's traditions that have been passed on generation to generation. And despite us mixing and merging with other cultures, we still pass on these traditions. We are one people here, and we share and enjoy it with a love and a community here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Amen, sister. Amen. Don't let them take that from you, man. Don't let them take that spirit away from you, because that's important to hold on to your culture, you know, because as you guys are there now in Trinidad, that's your home now, you know. Yeah. I mean, it's good to look back and say, oh yeah, look back to the Indians, oh yeah, fine, but that's your home now. You know, people always talk about, even with Africans, you know, enslaved Africans, don't you want to go back to Africa? Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so why don't you take back the boat to Calcutta, India? Go back, if that's your motherland, if you want to hold on to Indian roots. I'm not holding on, I'm celebrating. I am celebrating being called a Trinbagonian here by right, because of my grandparents coming here. They've given me a new lease on a new life. I have opportunities I probably would not have been able to have. And others, you know, similar, they would not. Everyone that would have come across to a different land would have been exposed to something new and different, and would have been offered opportunities to pass on these traditions with a twist, something, you know, wherever you land, you know, you've left your indigenous land of India, wherever it was, China, Africa, Syria, Lebanon, even Israel and Holland. They would have all come across here into the region, and they would have settled, and they would have intertwined with each other, creating something new. And how good it is that we can boast of that. Our entire region is a cosmopolitan region because of these things, right?
Yes.
Whether they say they took us against our rights and we came, you know, brought us here in chains and shackles. People, I mean, the treatment, I know we need to overcome and be compensated in a way for that, especially the enslaved.
Yes.
We have endured,
Kim. We've endured.
but we've persevered and we have triumphed.
Yes, yes.
Have triumphed. We've come out on top.
And we have a vice president of the United States. Lest we forget her, Kamala Harris, yeah, who's coming to the Bahamas on June 8th. Can't wait to see her. She's coming here on June 8th. Kamala Harris. We can't wait to see you, Kamala. We love you, Kamala. We love you. We love you. We can't wait to see you.
Kamala.
Kamala. Some people call her Kamala, some people call her Kamala.
In Trinidad, we've got that mixing because Kamala is her name, right? We have Kamala here. Whenever people are doing a typo or even reading it, it's usually when they're saying Kamala, it will be spelled out as Kamala. Kamala. The American US Vice President, that is.
Yes, Kamala. But you want to hear something though? The only Kamala I knew before Kamala Prasad Bisesar was Kamala the Ugandan giant from wrestling. Wrestling, you ever heard about Kamala the Ugandan giant? A wrestler? No? Oh Lord, you never watched wrestling back in the 80s and 90s, Kim? You don't watch wrestling. What kind of childhood you had, Kim?
My dad would have been watching that, and I would have I had a bedtime by at least 8 or 9 p.m. Get in bed.
No, Saturday afternoon wrestling, Kim. Saturday afternoon wrestling.
Probably would have backed out from them if my grandpa and my dad was watching something like that.
Oh Lord, Kim. You know who Kamala the Ugandan giant is?
I probably would have come across him, but no.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Big beast of a man. He played his part right. He had the face paint on, big black guy, carried a spear, very stereotypical. And looking back at it now, it was kind of racist too, I actually know Big Smoke Man was kind of racist, yeah.
He wanted to probably carry on that stereotype there when put out portray that image of, some kind of strength and
what a black man would look like, right? Yeah, that's him. That's why when Vince McMahon Jr. he got involved when he got embroiled in his sex scandal, I didn't feel sorry for him, because a lot of wrestlers were saying he had a racist streak to him. And you couldn't say anything because it was his company, right? So you really couldn't say anything to him. But yeah,
I guess they try to encourage that. To them it would, add some publicity in a sort of sense.
Yeah, just adds to the storyline, what they call it, kayfabe.
Continue that stereotype. It's wrong.
Of course it's wrong. And it's very tongue-in-cheek. But now we realize how many races were in the United States, because people were buying it.
Yeah.
People were buying it. People loved it, They loved the stereotype.
No, but when those things were happening, they would probably shy away us girl children. It's like, okay, this is too violent for you. Y'all go outside and play on your bikes and your dollies.
Wrestling too violent. I believe that they were actually fighting. I can't believe I felt for that.
Yeah. Captain, they have storylined already.
Yeah, man. Like when the Four Horsemen attacked Dusty Rhodes, I can't believe I believe that. I can't believe that I thought that they actually broke his leg with a baseball bat. Why? Who would do that, Kim? Why wasn't anybody arrested? I wasn't thinking. I was a child. I couldn't believe that was fake. I believe it was true. I can imagine having a conversation with my older cousin. He was about 16 at the time. I say, wrestling is real. Wrestling is real. Say, you're wrestling is fake. He looked at me in the side of his eye like this. So you so stupid. Wrestling is real. I didn't realize it was already scripted, right? It is fake.
That was one thing I learned when it came to the WWF, I believe it was.
Yes.
Right. So when we went to school on Mondays, you'd hear all the guys talking about it, and like,
But you would enjoy going to a show. I mean, it's really fun. I've went to wrestling several times before. My mom used to take me to wrestling. Thank God for her. I went to a few wrestling shows. It's really exciting, man. You get to scream at the top of your lungs. You get to scream at the bad guy. You get to chant for the good guy. Yeah, you really get into it, man. The only thing that made it uncomfortable here is that the Haitian population here, because they always had Haitian wrestlers that came over with whoever the band was. They always had Haitian wrestlers, but the Haitians, whenever the Haitians lost, especially Tyree Pride, the Haitian sensation, they would throw bottles over the top of the stadium. They would get really animated about it. So it came to a point where the Nassau Stadium, where they had all the wrestling matches, right, and the boxing matches, right, they put like a netting over the stadium. So anytime anybody threw any balls over the top, people wouldn't be hit by it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was real fun times, man. The Haitians got really, really animated for the Haitian fighters, man. And they didn't know it was fake. They didn't know it was fake back in the day. One time, Kevin Sullivan came here. Kevin Sullivan came and he fought Tyree Pride here, and he choked Tyree Pride out until he started to foam at the mouth. And people believe that he was actually foaming. I believe he was foaming. I believe Kevin Sullivan was actually going to kill the man. But it was a little capsule he had in his mouth, and he just bit it, and the foam kept coming out of his mouth. Just fake. Just fake foolishness, man. It was good times, man. Good times, man. Good times.
It gave you guys something to reenact in your school and your little boyhood.
It gave the people, Kim. It gave the people, because you could imagine how many women were out there to watch wrestling. More women than men, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, more. Of course. But who wouldn't want to see half naked men in tights? Which woman wouldn't want to see that? There was more women out there to watch the wrestling matches than there were men.
I was taken up with the long hair, and I was actually grossed out by it. I mean, probably that's a little childish part of it.
You're grossed out by it? Yeah, I guess that was you.
Yeah, we were sheltered in that sense,
But you want to hear something though? Even though the matches were kind of exciting, I kind of like the storyline too. I kind of like the background story and the promos. You haven't watched a promo until you watched a Randy Savage promo. Go back to YouTube after the show tonight and just search Randy Savage promo, and you would see what a cocaine fueled promo actually looks like. Man, it was fun. It's exciting. And then you go and you search a Rock promo, the Rock promo.
I know about the Rock.
Yeah, search one of his promos. It's absolute gold, comedy gold, man. You can't get any better than that. I realized, I love this entire package. I love the way wrestling was actually presented to me as a child, and as a young man too. They cut promos. They spoke well. They talk a lot of foolishness. They talk a lot of trash. Then the matches were kind of exciting. So I say, hey, why not like it? Even though it was fake, even though I knew it was fake after they grew old, I say, I kind of like this. I still like wrestling to this day. But even though Vince McMahon kind of killed it for us, because there's no real stars to really pull for. Because there's only one like big wrestling promotion anyway. That's the WWE. I think it was better when it had competition with the WCW. After Vince McMahon bought the WCW, wrestling became kind of boring after that because he didn't have any competition anymore. He didn't have the competition that could actually move the product and actually push people to be better and to compete. Just like
Real Enterprise. I know you'd have seen the Bella Twins.
Oh yeah, the Bella Twins. Yeah.
I would have probably glimpsed of it because of the reality TV. But they were all a sisterhood for each other.
Yeah, indeed, man. Indeed. So you have watched wrestling. So
Kim, not much.
Oh Lord, Kim, we're coming towards the end of the show, Kim. Any final thoughts, man? I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my holiday, man. What about you? You gonna get prepared? You start preparing for food for tomorrow? Indian Arrival Day?
I have everything seasoned and set up already. So my parents are going to be doing the cooking, not me. I might just I usually make something called pepper roti, which is something they would have made it's really for the cooks of an Indian wedding. It's leftover material, leftover ingredients that they made for those who were in the kitchen cooking. They have workers that were preparing the food for a wedding. So it's a pepper roti. What it is, it's like an Indian pizza. You've got a big paratha, which is the paratha roti. Which is like an oil roti. It's like a pastry kind of roti. And we put a filling with onions and leftover vegetables that would have remained from the wedding, because the Indian wedding is usually vegetarian. We've got onions, carrots, cheese. We would have put a little bit of garlic, something called culantro, which is like the really pungent, strong brother or cousin of cilantro.
Yeah.
Mix all of that and slices of pepper, hot peppers, mixed into it, and then you would take a next roti and put it on top of it and you would cook it. So it's like a pie baked on the skillet. It's not a skillet, it's really a griddle. We call a tawa, flat iron thing that you cook on a flame on the stove. We cook that, we flip it, and it steams. We put grated potato.
Yeah, that sounds like an orgasm in your mouth, Kim.
It's cheesy, it's good, it's pepper.
That sounds lovely, man. You guys are gonna have a good Indian Arrival Day tomorrow.
Yeah. And then we have a range of sweets and delicacies. It's like kurma, gulab jamun. It's fried pastries basically.
Yeah, gulab jamuns.
Yeah. And then there's the rasgulla, which is a different name. It's a soaked kind of powdered milk with I think flour, and you fry it and you put it into a syrup. It's really sweet.
Okay. Me personally, I like my galoop jamuns. I like the sauce kind of sticky and sweet, 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 sweet. I had galoop jamuns here, and it wasn't like the ones I had when I was in the UK, man. I mean, the guys in the UK, the sauce was thick and it was sweet. It's almost like a syrup. But the guys, yeah, they made the sauce weak, and it turned me off from it, man. You know.
I don't like it too much. It makes me kind of sick a bit.
You don't like galoop jamuns?
I have it like a little pinch, not much. I like the ladus, which is your fried ground and added with your condensed milk and your spices like your cardamom, ginger, are the pivotal spices when it comes to the Indian sweets.
Okay, that's cool. Well, Kim, there we have it. There's another LimeVibe Live podcast in the books. Thank you for joining us again one more time for another LimeVibe Live podcast, you viewers out there. So share, like, and subscribe to all of our videos on Facebook and YouTube. Go to LimeVibe Live 77, LimeVibe 77, LimeVibe 77. Like, share, and subscribe to all of our videos there. It really helps us a lot. And leave a comment as well. And also, if you feel the need to, if you feel inclined to, only if you really feel inclined to, you can also donate to us. There's a link in the description of the Facebook and the YouTube video that takes you to a payment portal that you could actually donate to our show, and it really helps us a lot. Okay, so this is Yori Kemp signing off again for another LimeVibe Live podcast, along with my host, Kimberly Ramcallo, and we see you again on Wednesday night for another LimeVibe Live. Good night.
I wanted to say, Yari, before we
go ahead, Kim.
I think tomorrow's Anguilla Day, so we just say hello to our followers in Anguilla, and I know today was a holiday in Barbados. It was also Whit Monday.
Whit Monday, yes. Okay.
Greetings to you all across the Caribbean, and we have several observances happening.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Oh, that's good night. Well, thank you, Kim. We'll talk about that on Wednesday, Kim. Thank you so much, Kim. Good night, everybody.